Today what we're going to talk about is graphing inequalities. Alright, so graphing inequalities, not too bad, you'll be alright with this. As we're looking at this, first and foremost, we'll have to make sure you remember slope-intercept form. Alright, but the key to this is going to be slightly different than graphing an equation. When you graph an equation, the solution to that equation is any point on that line. Any point on that line. Now, what's different between this and an inequality is now the inequality doesn't just include the line, but again, what's really important is a solution to an inequality is a region on the graph, okay, an area on that graph. Okay, so any point in that region would be considered a solution. Okay, so that's the difference between an inequality and a equation when we talk about the solution. Now, this is important. I've already written this down for you on your notes, but make sure that you remember this. This is really important how we look at this. Type of line. If you've got a greater than or less than symbol, we will have a dotted line. We'll explain what that dotted line means in a couple minutes. If you have a greater than or equal to or less than or equal to symbol, this will be the continuous line like you've been drawn, or a solid line. Okay, we'll explain what that means also. Now, shading. The reason why we shade to show the solution. And that's what you saw in that first part. Okay, that shaded region is a solution. That's how we tell which part is the solution to that inequality. All right. When we have a greater than or equal to symbol, we're going to shade up. If you have a less than or equal to symbol, we are going to shade down. I'll explain what that means right now. So, first equation, y is greater than or equal to 1/2 x minus 4. The nice thing about this is you're going to start this just like you would any other equation. You're going to find your slope, and you're going to find your y-intercept. Now, you're going to graph those items. So the y-intercept is at 0, -4. Now, the next part is your slope. Your slope is 1/2. Well, that means up 1 to the right 2, up 1 to the right 2, so on and so forth. Okay? Now, with that in mind, don't draw your line just yet. The next part is to decide what kind of a line you're going to draw. Well, with the greater than or equal to part, and this is the equal to part, all right, the type of line you're going to draw is you're going to draw a solid line, okay, because of the equal to part. Okay? So, for this problem, you're going to have a solid line on here. Remember if I drew it or not. Let's see. I want to draw that solid line. So I draw a solid line. Okay. There you go. Now the next part is to decide which way you're going to shade. Okay. You're going to shade in this case. The solutions are going to be shaded up. Okay. So what you're going to do now? This is going to be way easier for you guys. It's a lot harder with the pen. I would absolutely consider using a pencil here. But if you're going to do this, what you're going to do is you want everything above this line. Well, the easiest way to figure this out is to go to your line and draw just little up arrows. Whatever side that is the side you're going to shade. Now again, this is way easier with a pencil. Okay, this is the best I can do with a pen. Okay, you know, I could go in here and get real fancy and get a highlighter out or something and do something like this, but I don't think we have to get that crazy, do we? Alright, anyway. So from here, let's go through an explanation so we understand why we're doing what we're doing. If we had an inequality of some sort and we wanted to know the different solutions, what I'm looking for is anything inside that shaded area. So for example, there is, in fact I'll do it this way, there's a point there at 0, 3. Now looking at this, it's in the shaded region. So you should assume that this is a solution. Now, you never know, but let's try it out. If I plug in a 3 for y, a 0 for x, I should get a true statement. Well, 1/2 of 0 is 0, so all you have left is -4. Is 3 greater than or equal to -4? Yeah, it's greater than, so it works. Now, any point in there will make this inequality true. when we come to the line itself, if the line is solid, it tells you that the equal to part is true. So that means any point on that line will give you a true statement. Okay? So any point on this line right now will make this true. Okay? So let's say, for example, let's see. Let's say you wanted to use 0, 4. Okay? 0, 4 is on that line. Well, it should be a true statement. So plug in 4, 4, y. Plug in 0 again for 1/2. Or negative 4, sorry. 0, negative 4. There you go. Let's see if it's true. Half of 0, 0. Is negative 4 greater than or equal to negative 4? You bet. Alright, it's equal to. So it means it's a solution. Okay? Anything down here is not a solution. These are all points that will not make this inequality true. Okay? Alright, so let's move on. Here we go. So we got y is greater than negative 2x plus 3. Again, go through slope, negative 2, y-intercept is 3. What kind of a line are you going to draw for this? Well, with just the less than, you can look at your notes. But it's going to tell you you're going to draw a dotted line. Okay, we'll talk about what that means here in a second. Shaded, which way are you going to shade? With the less than symbol, that means you're going to shade down. Okay, so let's go through and graph. Starting at your y-intercept of 0, 3. Slope is negative 2, so that's down 1 to the right 2. Down 1 to the right 2. Down 1 to the right 2. Okay, you do that on each side. Okay, now from here it's asked you to draw a dotted line. Now, technically when I do this, I don't do actually a dotted, I do a dashed line. And again, this is going to look much better on yours than mine. Okay, but you should have something that looks a lot like that. Okay, now decide which way you're going to shade. Well, we're going to shade for this one, we're going to shade down. So we're shading down, I'm going to draw down arrows. Okay, on whichever side, I'm sorry, from that line. So I'm going to go to the line, draw down arrows. Whatever side that is, I'm going to shade that in. Okay? So from there, you know that every single point in this shaded area is a solution to this inequality. What the dotted line tells you is that only less than, not equal to. So when you have just the less than symbol, that means every point on that line is not a solution. That is very important to remember. All right, so let's move on. X is greater than or equal to negative 4. All right, done something like this, and I always want to do something like this, and this is going to make sense here in a moment. Now, usually when we talk about x is greater than or equal to negative 4, we actually think of number lines. I usually have a number line of negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, so on and so forth. And we usually talk about a closed end point on negative 4, and then a line to the right. Well, that is on a one-dimensional graph. We're on a two-dimensional graph. Not only do we have an x-axis, but we have a y-axis. Now, you've graphed this before. And the way you want to think about this is where x is negative 4. Now, what's the slope of x is equal to any number? There isn't one. It's undefined because it's a vertical line. Is there a y-intercept? No, because it's not going to cross the y-axis because they're parallel. So this is going to be well, what kind of a line? It would be a solid line, okay, because of the equal to part. Now, we'll explain shading here in a second, because this is kind of a special case. Well, at x is negative 4, we're going to draw a vertical line, and we're going to draw a solid vertical line. Now, here's the problem. When you look at this, when we talk about shading, can you shade up or down? No. But again, this is a special case. What we're going to do is treat this more like a number line. So we're going to go to where x coordinates are larger than negative 4. So that is going to be everything to the right. This is the only time we're not talking about shading up or down. It's just with vertical lines. Okay? So every point right of this vertical line is a solution. Okay? So if you have greater than or equal to 4 vertical lines, you shade to the right. If you have anything that is less than or equal to, you shade to the left. Okay? All right. Now, write in the equation of a line. So, if we're writing, I'm sorry, an inequality, I apologize. So if we're writing an inequality, the first thing you're going to know is you're going to be writing this in slope-intercept form. So what I want to find is I want to find the slope and I want to find the y-intercept. For me, the y-intercept is always the easiest to find. I always look to see where the line crosses the y-axis. Well, it crosses there at 0, 3, so I know my y-intercept is going to be 3. The next thing you have to do is you need to find 2 points on that line. Well, there's a point there, there's a point there, there's a point there, they're all over. You just need to find 2 points. And I usually use my y-intercept as one of them. So from here, finding the slope, I know I'm using change in y over change in x. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to find my change in y. That means I'm going to go up 2 units. My change in x is 1, so 2 divided by 1 is 2. Okay? So what I actually like to do is I like to write at this point part of the inequality. So I'll write the y, leave a little space, and the 2x plus 3. The next part is I need to know about the line, and I need to know about the shading. That's going to help us know it's what we're going to use for our inequality. So starting off with the line. Well, it's dotted. What does dotted tell you? That means that you're going to have the points on that line are not equal. So that means you're not going to have an equal sign on here. So you're basically looking at either greater than or less than. From here, which way is it shaded? Well, it's shaded up, isn't it? So if it's shaded up, all right, that means it's going to be the greater than symbol. So y is greater than 2x plus 3. All right. So, kind of recap. We're going to kind of go through this one. Starting off with writing 2x minus 3y is less than 18 into slope-intercept form. Let's give it a try. So, we got 2x minus 3y is less than 18. Let's put it in slope-intercept form. Starting off with, just like we would before, we're going to get y by itself, so I'm going to add negative 2x to both sides. Negative 2x plus 2x is 0. So, whoops. Sorry, guys. So we've got, in fact, I'll erase it. That looks too bad. So we're going to have a negative 3y is less than, and again, as we talked about before, we're going to switch the order. Now, I'm doing this one on purpose. Something for you to remember. We are going to divide both sides by negative 3. Hopefully. Now, with this in mind, that's supposed to be a 3. Negative 3 divided by 3 is just y. Negative divided by negative is a positive, so you just get a positive 2/3. And then 18 divided by negative 3 is negative 6. Now, something I want you guys to remember, one of the reasons why we are going over this. This is something you learned when you solved inequalities way back when. Anytime you divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, right, you are going to switch the inequality symbol. So it's going to become y is greater than 2/3 x minus 6. Okay? That's one thing. Alright, so next I want to recap writing the equation of a line. Starting off with, when we look at this, slope, what is it? And y-intercept, what is that? Again, for me, I always look for the y-intercept first. Y-intercept is going to be at 7. The slope, 2 points. Down 1 to the right 2. So that means down 1, so that's a negative 1. To the right 2 is a positive 2. So you know so far that you're going to have y and a negative 1/2, and then x, and then plus 7. From there, what kind of a line? Well, we had a solid line. So you know that's going to be an equal to part. We also had the shading. Which way is this shaded? Well, it's shaded up. So, you can tell just by drawing up arrows. So if it's shaded up, that tells you it's going to be greater than. The solid part tells you it's going to have the equal to. Okay? Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that helps out a little bit. Alright. The other part of your notes we are going to use for tomorrow, so be prepared for that one. I'll have another video ready for you guys then. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, have a good one.